Your attention is the most expensive currency in the world, and everybody's fighting to steal it. Every reel, every notification, every conversation designed to hijack your mind bit by bit, your focus leaks away. This book is a war plan, a guide to reclaim your mental territory, slow down time, and start directing attention like a CEO, not a captive. Because if you don't own your attention, someone else will. Chapter 1. Your attention is the new currency. Stop for a second. Take a breath. Because right now, as you listen to this sentence, something else somewhere is competing for the same exact moment in your mind. Your phone might vibrate, a headline flashes, a message bubble slides across your screen, each one whispering a single silent request. Look at me. That tiny flicker of your focus is currency. It is tradable, measurable, profitable. Attention isn't free. Attention is the fuel that powers everything, from trillion-dollar ad networks to the smallest creator hustling for a click. Companies don't sell products anymore. They sell you to advertisers. They sell your eyes, your clicks, your time. They compete to buy minutes of your life, and most people are selling cheap. The economy of eyes Instagram is not free. TikTok is not free. YouTube is not free. They feel free, but that is the cleverest illusion in modern history. These platforms are markets, attention markets. The product is human focus, and you are the supplier. Every time you scroll, every second you pause on a post, an invisible auction takes place. Advertisers bid for that moment, for you. Algorithms record how long you linger, what words hold you, what colours stop you. They build a mirror of your impulses and feed that mirror until it owns your mind. It's brilliant and brutally effective. Attention has become the most bankable unit in existence. Money follows it, influence follows it, time bends around it. Whoever controls attention controls behaviour. The science of hijack. How do they do it? Through simple neuroscience. Your brain runs on dopamine, the chemical that rewards anticipation. Every notification triggers a spark, a promise of tiny excitement. That's the hook. Autoplay is no accident. The platforms don't want you deciding what comes next. Momentum decides for you. Infinite scroll? That comes from slot machine design. No ending means no satisfaction, no closure. And this is how immediacy becomes addiction. The reward isn't the post, it's the next one. You are being trained to salivate at stimulation. High speed, constant novelty, zero silence. Until one day you forget what deep focus feels like. The price you pay. You think scrolling is harmless. You say you're just killing time. But time is the only thing you can't kill without killing your potential with it. When your attention fragments, your identity fragments too. You stop reading deeply. You stop thinking originally. You begin consuming more than you create. And that's exactly how the system thrives, by keeping you busy, reactive, and distracted. You laugh, you scroll, you click, and you wonder why your goals stall and your creativity dulls. But how can you build something great when your direction changes every 10 seconds? Here is the harsh truth. Your ability to focus determines your ability to succeed. Not intelligence, not talent. Focus. Because attention is energy, and energy invested turns into power. The addiction to now. Modern life runs on immediacy. We crave instant delivery, instant replies, instant gratification. The patience muscle is dying. We used to wait weeks for letters. Now, if a message isn't answered in minutes, we panic. We used to read pages. Now we swipe summaries. We used to work in long creative sprints. Now we check our phones between sentences. The dopamine economy has turned focus into privilege. When everything is built for now, no one trains for next. The people who will win the next decade are not those who move fastest, but those who can hold concentration the longest. That's the new power, the real wealth. The mirror moment. Ask yourself, how much of your day do you truly choose where your attention goes? And how much of it is already chosen for you by algorithms, marketing, noise, and habit? You open one app to check something quickly, and an hour is gone. You don't even remember what you saw. That's leakage, attention leakage, and it's happening to billions at once. Reclaiming it starts with awareness. Every tap, every view, every moment of curiosity is a transaction. Before you give your attention, ask, what am I buying with this and what am I selling? Repetition anchor. Repeat this until it becomes a habit. You pay with attention. You earn with attention. You live by attention. Every time you give attention, you pay in time. Every time you focus deeply, you earn momentum. Every time you direct it wisely, you build a life that compounds value. You pay with attention. You earn with attention. You live by attention. This isn't philosophy, it's economics of the mind. Choosing your market. If your attention is currency, choose your markets carefully. Invest it in relationships that matter, in projects that challenge you, in ideas that expand you. Every distraction is a micro theft of your destiny. Imagine your attention as a portfolio. Where are you spending your daily capital? On growth, learning, creation, or on noise, gossip, and validation? The longer you operate unaware, the poorer you become in focus and peace. But once you become conscious, you become the investor. You decide what deserves your energy. You understand. Time is limited and attention even more so. So stop spending like a gambler. Start investing like a strategist. Attention is everything. It decides your day, your mind, and your life. This is the economy beneath every other economy. Money follows focus. Relationships follow focus. Fulfillment follows focus. So from this moment, treat attention as sacred currency. Guard it. Direct it. Spend it where it multiplies meaning. When the world screams for it, pause and remember. Not every email deserves a reply. Not every headline deserves your outrage. Not every noise deserves your ears. Once you control your attention, you control time. And once you control your time, you control your life. Chapter 2. The illusion of productivity. You wake up, rush through a checklist, open your messages, answer 3 emails, scroll, reply, multitask, eat while working, and fall asleep thinking you didn't do enough. You were busy, you were active, you were moving. But the question is, did you move forward? This is the great illusion of our time. Busyness feels like progress, but it's often nothing more than sophisticated distraction. The trap of constant motion. We live in a culture that worships hustle. The myth says if you're not constantly grinding, you're falling behind. But sometimes the treadmill looks a lot like progress until you realize you're running in place. You answer 20 meaningless emails, but never touch the one that actually matters. You cross off small tasks for the dopamine hit of completion, while the big work, the real work, waits quietly for courage. The world rewards motion, not mastery. It praises activity, not accuracy. You can look successful while being completely directionless, because the goal is not movement, the goal is momentum. The myth of more. We think doing more equals achieving more. That's the industrial age ghost still haunting us. The assembly line mindset, crank harder, do faster, never pause. But in the information age, the winner isn't the one doing the most, it's the one doing what matters best. Minimal effort, multiplied by focus, destroys mindless effort multiplied by distraction. Think about it. A chef doesn't cook 50 dishes at once. A surgeon doesn't operate on 10 patients simultaneously. Why? Because greatness demands single tasking. The myth of multitasking has stolen more dreams than failure ever did. You may touch everything, but master nothing. You may respond to everyone, but connect with no one. You don't need more hours. You need more intensity per hour. Fake work versus deep work. There are 2 kinds of work. Fake work keeps you busy. Deep work moves your life forward. Fake work is reactive. It's checking for updates, chasing inbox zeros, scrolling for research. It gives the illusion of control, but hides the absence of creation. Deep work requires stillness, focused flow, no background tabs, no side conversations in your brain. Example, think of J.K. Rowling writing the early pages of her books not surrounded by noise, but carved away into silence. Steve Jobs holding long, empty thinking walks, doing nothing visible, yet creating mental architecture that would change industries. They weren't idle. They were immersed. Fake work drains energy. Deep work builds energy. If you spend your day reacting to everyone else's needs, you're not living your own life. You're subcontracting your purpose. The busyness identity. For many people, busyness is a costume. It hides uncertainty beneath a show of effort. When you're unsure what truly matters, being busy makes you feel safe. You can say, I'm working hard, even if you're going nowhere. But here's the problem. I'm busy is not a badge of honor. It's a confession. A confession that your priorities are undefined. Real power doesn't shout. It selects. It cuts. It simplifies. Being selective is how you reclaim authority over your life. Because if you don't prioritize your time, someone else will. And their agenda will always feel urgent but rarely important. The hidden cost of busyness. Busyness isn't just inconvenient, it's costly. It taxes your focus, your relationships, and your creativity. When every minute is filled, your mind never digests your experiences. You don't have the space to notice patterns, to connect ideas, or to feel gratitude. Have you ever noticed your best ideas appear after long showers, quiet walks, or calm mornings? That's your mind processing, rearranging, innovating. But when you fill every silence, you leave zero room for discovery. So what looks like productivity can actually be self-sabotage, working harder to avoid thinking. Power of strategic stillness. Strategic stillness is not laziness, it's the highest form of control. Look at the leaders who shape industries. They aren't constantly typing or reacting. They carve out time to think, to forecast, to visualize possibilities. The CEO doesn't pack their schedule wall to wall. Their job is direction, not distraction. In the same way, you are the CEO of your own life. You cannot afford to live buried under tasks when your real mission is to design the vision. That may mean unplugging, meditating, reading slowly, or journaling. It's not wasted time. It's thinking time. Stillness doesn't slow your life. It aligns it. Redefining work for the future. In the next decade, attention, not effort, will separate winners from survivors. Machines can now handle repetition, automation, and scale, but no AI can replicate intentional creativity, emotional intelligence, or vision. Your job is not to outwork machines, your job is to outthink them. That starts with clarity, focus, simplicity. You don't need to do everything, you need to know what not to do. The modern definition of productivity isn't getting more done, it's getting the right things done while staying sane. Repetition anchor. Repeat this until it sticks. Stop doing more. Start doing what matters longer. Say it again. Stop doing more. Start doing what matters longer. Quantity builds exhaustion. Quality builds momentum. You can't chase 100 paths and call it purpose. So narrow your focus. Extend your depth. Multiply your meaning. Stop doing more. Start doing what matters longer. Closing reflection. If chapter 1 was about realizing how valuable your attention is, this chapter is about directing that attention purposefully. Busyness will always disguise itself as importance, but the truth is simple. You cannot chase everything and still catch greatness, so cut the noise. Refuse the rush. Redesign your days around depth, not distraction. You are not a machine built to produce endlessly. You are a mind built to create intelligently. And every moment spent wisely becomes the foundation of your future success. Remember, doing everything is overrated. Doing the essential is unbeatable. Chapter 3. Noise is the new normal. Pause for a second and listen, not to me, but to your environment. Notice it, the hum of devices, the background music from somewhere. Maybe conversations in the distance, a TV murmuring, notifications humming like insects. Even silence now has sound leaking into it. That's not coincidence, that's conditioning. Modern life has normalized noise so thoroughly that true quiet feels uncomfortable. We fill every gap, every pause, every breath with something. Information, entertainment, commentary. We don't live in stillness anymore, we live in constant stimulation. This is how the mind gets crowded, and a crowded mind cannot create clearly. The noise economy. If attention is the currency of power, then noise is the tax we pay for living unconsciously. Every second of sound, every headline or vibration, every pop-up notification, each one is a micro withdrawal from your mental balance. Here's the design. The louder the world gets, the less you can hear your own thoughts. Music stores keep sound up because silence makes customers leave. Social apps hammer you with updates to make you return. Streaming shows autoplay because stillness might make you think. Noise serves a function to drown out awareness, because awareness leads to choice, and choice threatens the systems built on distraction. So everywhere you go, there's background sound telling you what to feel, what to think, what to chase next. The discomfort of silence. Have you noticed how awkward people get when silence appears? A pause in conversation, a quiet dinner table, a moment between songs, we rush to fill the void. We turn on something, we reach for something, we scroll, we talk. Silence feels empty, but it's not. Silence is space. Space is where reflection lives. We've misunderstood stillness as boredom, but boredom is the birthplace of ideas. Think back to childhood. You could sit for hours daydreaming, inventing stories, building worlds inside your own head. That was focus. That was unfiltered imagination. Now, adults panic at the sight of an idle minute. We need the buzz, the hum, the loop. That's not preference, it's dependency. The loss of thinking time. Every genius in history understood the value of silence. Newton didn't discover gravity mid-conference call. It came during solitude. Einstein formulated theories on long, quiet walks. Buddha, Jesus, prophets, philosophers, all withdrew from noise to think clearly. Why? Because thought takes time. Great ideas bloom in the soil of absence, from interruption, from urgency, from volume. Our generation confuses access with insight. We consume more data than ever but generate fewer original thoughts, because thinking requires incubation, and incubation needs patience and peace. A loud mind cannot listen. A distracted mind cannot discover. Digital noise, emotional noise. Noise isn't just sound, it's emotional clutter. The arguments in your feed, the performative outrage, the updates about things that don't affect your life but still hijack your emotions. You're not just hearing noise, you're feeling it. You carry the anxiety of 1,000 strangers daily. Digital noise has blurred boundaries. Your brain doesn't know which problems belong to you anymore. Everything feels urgent, everyone sounds important. But not everything is yours to carry. Not every fire deserves your water. Selecting which noise to allow is emotional self-defense. Why constant inputs create constant confusion? The brain has a limit. It can only process so much before it stops discerning. When you flood it with information, it can't separate value from volume. Everything blends into static. And when everything feels equally loud, nothing stands out. It's why people struggle to make decisions. Why clarity feels rare. Why confidence fades. When everything's shouting, you stop listening. And when you stop listening, you stop leading your own life. How noise kills creativity. Creativity is not born in chaos. It needs rhythm and rest. Imagine your mind like a piano. Strike every key at once, and what do you get? Noise, not music. But hit the right notes. Give breathing room between the sounds, and something beautiful appears. Pattern, structure, meaning. That's how thinking works. Silence is the pause between your mental notes. Without it, every idea becomes noise, overlapping, colliding, cancelling itself out. You've had brilliant thoughts before, a solution in the shower, an insight on a long drive, clarity at 2 a.m. when the world was quiet. That's your proof. Stillness is creative oxygen, noise suffocates it. The power of controlled environments. You can't always escape noise, but you can design silence. Start small, 10 minutes in the morning with no sound, no scrolling, no background buzz. Just observe your own thoughts. Create one space in your home that stays quiet. No music, no screens, no talking. Let your brain remember what stillness feels like. When you choose silence intentionally, it stops being awkward and starts feeling like power. Don't wait for silence to find you. Create it on purpose. Then defend it like territory. Repetition anchor. Say it out loud until it becomes a rule. Silence is not empty. Silence is where intelligence builds. Again, silence is not empty. Silence is where intelligence builds. Noise fills space. Silence shapes it. Noise costs focus. Silence creates it. When you feel lost or overwhelmed, don't add more sound. Subtract it. Clarity doesn't come from more input. It comes from less interference. Noise has become the default atmosphere of modern existence. But the people who will see clearly in the future are the ones who master the silence. Silence is not weakness. It is strength under control. When others drown in noise, you will drown in thought. When others chase stimulation, you will cultivate stillness. That difference is everything. You can't hear your intuition when life is too loud. But if you dare to disconnect, if you dare to mute the world for a while, you'll start hearing something deeper yourself. Remember, silence is an absence of life. Silence is life unfiltered. Chapter 4. The Lost Art of Boredom. Think about the last time you were truly bored. No phone, no playlist, no endless scroll, no multitasking. Just silence, just space. Chances are you can't remember. Because in today's world, boredom is hunted down the moment it appears. We treat it like a disease to cure. 2 seconds of stillness and we reach for stimulation. Scrolling, swiping, tapping, checking, anything but just being. But boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is a teacher. It's your mind whispering, I need time to invent again. Why? Boredom disappeared? We live inside a buffet of instant entertainment. Anything we want, information, music, dopamine, is available in seconds. Every small gap in the day is filled. Waiting in line, check your phone. Sitting at a red light, check your messages. 2 minutes before a meeting, open social media. We've forgotten how to be idle, and yet that's exactly when your subconscious goes to work. Your best ideas don't appear when you're busy. They arrive when you're bored, when your brain finally has space to connect loose threads. Childhood proved this. Remember inventing games with toys? Creating entire worlds out of nothing? That wasn't random. That was boredom becoming imagination. As adults, we still have that skill, but we drown it in content before it has a chance to surface. Understanding boredom as mental rest. Boredom is not laziness. It's cognitive rest. When your mind keeps switching between tasks, it doesn't have time to organize or digest information. But give it brief pauses, and it starts integrating, reflecting, building links. That's not wasted time. That's mental maintenance. Think of your brain like fertile soil. Every idea you consume is a seed, but it can't grow in constant disturbance. The soil needs stillness, otherwise it's just churned dust. Scheduling little spaces of nothingness is how you let ideas breathe. Why we fear boredom. We don't avoid boredom because it's unpleasant. We avoid it because it reveals things. The moment silence appears, buried thoughts surface. The emotions you've been ignoring start knocking. The truth about your direction becomes louder. So we keep distracting ourselves. We prefer constant activity to quiet honesty. But all growth starts when you face the mirror. Boredom is the gateway to self-awareness. Stop running from it and you might finally figure out what's actually missing in your life. The creativity equation. Boredom plus focus equals creation. History repeats this pattern. Newton wasn't inventing gravity under pressure. He was alone, daydreaming, letting his mind wander. Archimedes saw the principle of buoyancy not in a lab, but while relaxing in a bath. The Beatles composed some of their best work when isolated in moments of dull routine between shows. They weren't chasing entertainment, they were entertaining their own minds. When you allow your brain to wander without direction, it starts making unexpected connections. That's creativity. That's intuition. That's you thinking beyond the script. Modern sabotage of the mind. Today's environment doesn't let you get bored long enough to grow. Apps are designed for constant cliffhangers, every moment a new hit of novelty. Even rest is packaged as stimulation, music, shows, endless videos about how to relax. But relaxation isn't consumption, it's releasing consumption. Every time you feel silence with something new, you cut off your mind mid-sentence. You interrupt the very process that leads to original thought. We claim we want innovation while running from the one condition that produces it: stillness. Relearning to sit with stillness. Try this simple but uncomfortable experiment. Sit alone, no device, no background music, no task for 10 minutes. At first it feels strange, restless. Your brain will crave distraction. That feeling? That's withdrawal from noise. But stay a little longer. Past minute 5, your mental snow begins to settle. Your thoughts start lining up instead of colliding. You might remember a small idea you had forgot. You might notice insights rising from underneath the usual chatter. This is what many call letting the mind wander. It's not wasted time, it's productive idleness. Because when the mind wanders, it's not lost, it's exploring. Productive boredom for creators and leaders. Entrepreneurs, artists, thinkers, they all rely on open space. The best strategies are not born in speed meetings, but in long, quiet reflection. The best inventions, not from pressure, but from peace. In a hyper-connected world, the real edge is selective disconnection. If you allow yourself scheduled boredom, like a weekly reset, you'll notice your depth returning. Your thinking gets slower, clearer, more original. When others sprint from silence, you'll discover that's where your next breakthrough hides. Repetition anchor. Repeat this until it rewires your habits. When your mind wanders, ideas land. Again, when your mind wanders, ideas land. Boredom isn't absence of purpose, it's the space where purpose takes shape. Give yourself permission to slow down. Give your brain permission to play again. When your mind wanders, ideas land. Boredom is not a flaw, it's a forgotten art. It's not something to fix, but something to feel. Because only when you stop consuming other people's ideas can you finally hear your own. So stop fearing the blank spaces. They are not empty, they are full of potential. In those moments of quiet nothingness, your creativity stretches its limbs. Let your mind rest. Let it drift. Let it dream. In a world addicted to stimulation, boredom is your competitive advantage. Chapter 5. The Solitude Blueprint. In a world that never stops talking, solitude feels almost rebellious. Being alone used to be normal. Now it feels strange, even suspicious. The modern mind has been trained to believe that productivity only happens when surrounded by people and motion. But history tells another story. Wisdom is born in silence, and greatness is sculpted in solitude. You don't need a crowd to become clear. You need a corner, a breath, and enough quiet to hear your own thoughts again. Solitude is not isolation. It's not loneliness. It's leadership. The difference between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is the ache of absence. Solitude is the strength of presence. Loneliness says, I have no one. Solitude says, I have myself. When you learn to be comfortable in your own company, you stop needing others to fill your mental silence. You stop outsourcing validation. You stop fearing emptiness because you start hearing authenticity. The lonely person runs from stillness. The self-aware person walks into it, and in that space, something extraordinary happens. You hear your real voice. Not the one shaped by trends, pressure, or opinion, the inner one that already knows what you're meant to do next. The ancient pattern of retreat. Every great tradition has a version of solitude in its story. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, alone, until enlightenment unfolded. Jesus retreated into the wilderness for 40 days of silence and self-reflection. Moses climbed the mountain without company. Hermits, philosophers, prophets, all left the noise to return wiser. These weren't acts of escape, they were acts of expansion. They stepped back to see farther. Even in science and art, the pattern stays the same. Newton discovered gravity during isolation, away from the university chaos. Tesla dreamed alone, walking the streets at night. J.K. Rowling wrote her early ideas in quiet cafes, with no team, no expectation, just imagination and persistence. Solitude doesn't block insight, it breeds it. Why we resist being alone. We avoid solitude because it removes the distractions we use to numb our anxiety. When you're finally alone, there's no noise left to hide behind. You come face to face with your fears, your flaws, and your truth. That can feel uncomfortable at first. But discomfort is not danger, it's data. Solitude helps you see what's unresolved. It reveals what your busyness was burying. People say, I can't be alone with my thoughts. That's exactly why they should be. If your mind feels chaotic in silence, it isn't the silence's fault. It's the backlog of unprocessed thoughts asking to be heard. Give them room and they will eventually calm. Give them space and you'll start feeling grounded again. The CEO mindset of solitude. Imagine you're the CEO of your life. You're not hired to answer every email, fix every detail, or react to every notification. Your job is leadership, vision, strategy. When the CEO gets lost in daily noise, the company loses direction. But when the CEO steps into solitude, they step above the noise. They stop doing so they can start deciding. You need that same practice for your mind. Call it your board meeting with yourself. Once a week or once a day, disconnect from everyone else's voices and sit alone with your own. Ask, where am I going? Why am I doing this? What matters next? These questions aren't answered in motion. They're answered in reflection. Solitude as restoration. Solitude is not just mental clarity, it's recovery. You recharge differently when you're alone. You stop performing, you stop pretending, you stop reacting. In solitude, you return to your original settings before the world started pressing its buttons. It's like standing in sunlight after being under artificial light too long. Reality feels sharper. You start wanting less but appreciating more. If you're constantly surrounded by noise, your energy leaks out invisibly. Solitude plugs those leaks. It fills your emotional tank again. It's not selfish to pull back. It's strategic. Because when you come out of solitude with fresh energy, you can give from abundance, not exhaustion. Learning to schedule solitude. You don't find time for solitude. You create it. Start small. 10 minutes a day without devices. Walk alone without headphones. Eat one meal in quiet reflection. Let yourself reclaim micro slices of silence throughout the day, then scale up. Maybe a solo coffee, a few hours each week for deep thinking, or a morning routine before the world wakes up. You don't need to move to the mountains, you just need to move away from noise. One quiet hour often does more for your future than 10 busy ones. When solitude becomes superpower. True confidence comes from people who know themselves deeply, and self-knowledge comes from solitude. In a world obsessed with followers, solitude reconnects you with leadership. In a culture drowning in comparison, solitude grounds you in authenticity. Those who spend time alone aren't escaping, they're evolving. When you learn to be peaceful in your own company, you can walk into any room and not lose yourself trying to blend in. Because solitude has already taught you who you are. That's why solitude isn't loneliness, it's mastery. Repetition anchor. Repeat this as a reminder. You are the CEO of your life. No CEO thrives in chaos. Again, you are the CEO of your life. No CEO thrives in chaos. You don't need everyone's opinion. You need your own insight. You don't need endless meetings with the world. You need focused meetings with yourself. Choose solitude. Choose clarity. Choose power through stillness. Solitude is the blueprint for direction, peace, and mastery. Every thinker, every creator, every visionary eventually learns this truth. Silence is not the absence of life, it's where life regains meaning. You can live constantly surrounded by noise, or you can lead from a place of centered calm, but you can't do both at once. When you start treating solitude as a ritual, not a punishment, your thinking refines, your decisions strengthen, and your presence deepens. In a noisy world, solitude isn't retreat, it's strategy. Chapter 6. Slow thinking wins fast games. The world is obsessed with speed, fast growth, fast responses, fast success. But here's the quiet truth almost no one tells you. Fast doesn't always win. In fact, fast often fails. Because in the rush to move quicker, most people forget to move correctly. They respond before thinking, react before reflecting, produce before planning. Slow thinkers are not behind. They're building with precision while the rest chase momentum without direction. The speed trap. We've been conditioned to equate speed with intelligence. Finish first, reply instantly, always stay available. But real wisdom doesn't sprint, it studies. A cheetah is fast, but it runs only a few seconds before exhaustion. A lion walks slowly for hours, stalking, studying, strategizing, and then delivers a single strike that changes everything. That's life. The ones who pause to read the game often outperform the ones running wildly in it. When you rush, you repeat mistakes. When you slow down, you remove them. Speed feels satisfying now. Accuracy feels powerful forever. Why slow thinking feels unnatural? Slow thinking threatens ego. It challenges urgency culture, the myth that instant is always better. We fear stillness because it makes us feel unproductive. Yet the brain doesn't create under haste, it creates under harmony. The fast mind lives in reaction, constantly switching, answering, adapting, defending. The slow mind operates from design. It zooms out, sees connections, sees timing. You can't master chess by rushing. You master it by holding silence between moves. The greatest minds pause before acting. They understand that space is part of strategy. The neuroscience of slow. The human brain has two gears. Fast thinking is automatic and emotional, great for survival. Slow thinking is deliberate and analytical, essential for leadership. Fast thinking helps you dodge a car. Slow thinking builds the car company. Your brain only reaches depth when it isn't flooded with inputs. It needs single task focus to link pattern, reason, and vision. That's why hurried decisions rarely hold long-term power. They're made under emotional compression, not cognitive expansion. Slow thought, however, invites the full intelligence of your mind. It gathers past, present, and possibility before choosing. That's where mastery lives, not in speed, but in synthesis. Strategic patience in history. Every strategist understands the rhythm of waiting. Charles Darwin spent decades collecting evidence before releasing his theory. He wasn't lazy, he was precise. Steve Jobs delayed product launches repeatedly because the details weren't right yet. He knew time invested in refinement was time saved in reputation. And Warren Buffett, one of the quietest investors alive, says it best. You don't get paid for activity, you get paid for being right. The world applauds movement. History remembers accuracy. Speed produces noise. Patience produces legacy. Slowness as a competitive edge. Slowness sharpens instinct. It gives your mind the ability to see layers others rush past. Everyone else is caught in reaction mode, scrolling faster, posting quicker, deciding sooner. You, the slow thinker, study, digest, and act with exact timing. That's how great athletes dominate. A master chess player doesn't rush the clock, they live inside the pause. That's where insight appears, between the seconds. The future belongs to those who can think deeply, not just react quickly. Slow doesn't mean passive. Slow means purposeful. Practical, slowing down. Practice slowing your mind in micro ways. Don't answer texts instantly. Let seconds pass. When faced with a big decision, sleep on it. When angry, count breaths before you speak. When uncertain, move slower but more precisely. Replace urgency with clarity. Replace I must act fast with I must act right. Create daily moments where thinking is scheduled, not squeezed between interruptions. That's how you train your mind to choose reflection over reaction. The paradox of speed through slowness. Here's the paradox. Slowing down actually makes you faster, because when your foundation is strong, you spend zero time correcting chaos. Most people live in loops of redoing what could have been done correctly the first time. That's the consequence of rushing, speed without structure. When you slow down, your accuracy increases, your execution becomes smoother, and your confidence rises. And that, ironically, moves you farther, faster. The emotional calm of slow living. Beyond performance, slowness is emotional stability. When you live in constant acceleration, anxiety becomes oxygen. You start confusing motion with meaning, panic with passion. But when you choose to slow down, your nervous system recalibrates. You start noticing simple things again, how food tastes, how people speak, how ideas unfold. Peace returns not by doing less, but by doing deliberately. The slow mind is calm, the calm mind is wise, and the wise mind moves mountains quietly. Repetition anchor. Say this until it becomes natural. Fast mind, scattered results. Slow mind, decisive power. Again, fast mind, scattered results. Slow mind, decisive power. Your strength is not measured by how quickly you react, but by how clearly you respond. The slower your thought, the sharper your aim. The sharper your aim, the stronger your impact. Fast mind, scattered results. Slow mind, decisive power. Slowness is not weakness, it's mastery in motion. It's learning to pause, plan, and then pounce with precision. When the world tells you to hurry, remember, fast is fragile, slow is stable. The leaders who win don't sprint, they steer. They delay gratification, trust timing, and let noise wear itself out before making their move. Your life deserves that kind of control. Let your thoughts slow down enough for wisdom to catch up. Because when your world moves too fast for meaning, slow thinking becomes your superpower. You've learned the rhythm of patience, focus, and control. Now, let's take your attention back to its roots, how what you read, watch, and absorb silently shapes your mind. In the next chapter, you'll rediscover the rare discipline of deep reading and why books, not screens, are still the training ground for the world's most powerful thinkers. Chapter 7. Reclaiming the Power of Books. Look around. Everyone is scrolling, swiping, reacting, but almost no one is reading. We skim headlines, consume quotes, half-watch videos, but we rarely go deeper than a few seconds of focus. Books, those quiet, patient teachers, are gathering dust in a world drowning in noise. And yet, if there's one tool left that can rebuild our attention, rewire our thinking, and reconnect us with genuine wisdom, it's this: reading long and reading slow. The forgotten discipline of reading. There was a time when reading wasn't optional, it was how people grew. Leaders, inventors, writers, scientists, they all trained their minds by turning pages, not by chasing pixels. But today, attention has been hijacked by immediacy. We scroll to escape depth. We crave speed over substance. Books ask more of you. They demand stillness, concentration, imagination. When you read, you have to build an image in your mind. You meet the writer halfway. That's real cognitive work. That's a mind doing squats instead of sitting still. You can lie to yourself with a motivational clip, but you can't lie to a book. It confronts your mind with your own clarity. Huxley's warning. In the last century, Aldous Huxley wrote that in the future there would be no need to ban books, because no one would want to read them. That prophecy has arrived. No censorship needed, just distraction. When people voluntarily abandon the discipline of reading, they also abandon independent thought, because every book forces you to think beyond headlines. It makes you hold an idea from start to finish. It teaches endurance, the mental capacity to stay with something long enough to understand it fully. Social media gives you fragments, books give you frameworks. The difference is enormous. Fragments confuse, frameworks clarify. The deep reading mind versus the scrolling mind. When you scroll, you don't truly consume information, you just collect dopamine. Scrolling feels like learning, but it isn't. It's like eating endless snacks and wondering why you're never full. Reading, however, activates a completely different part of the brain. It creates immersion, the same state used in deep focus and flow. When you read deeply, your mind stops multitasking. You enter a long attention state where ideas have time to expand, arguments have space to unfold, and imagination begins connecting dots. That's mental endurance. And it's disappearing. The rare person who can focus for an hour now holds a superpower. Reading is resistance. In an economy built on distraction, reading is rebellion. Every page you turn in silence is an act of defiance. You're rejecting instant gratification. You're choosing sustained attention. You're training your cognition the way an athlete trains endurance. Reading long-form text rewires the brain for patience, comprehension, and synthesis. People who read think in paragraphs, not catchphrases. They build internal logic, not borrowed opinions. That's why thinkers still rise while consumers fade. They understand the game of thought requires stamina. Each chapter, each book, is not just knowledge, it's mental architecture taking shape. How books shape thought leaders. Look behind every major innovator and you'll find a reader. Elon Musk devoured entire libraries before building rockets. Oprah Winfrey attributes her mindset to books. Leaders, philosophers, CEOs, without exception, they read. Why? Because reading lets you borrow someone else's brain for hours. Every author spent years living through lessons, mistakes, and experiments, then compressed it into pages. When you read those pages, you absorb decades in a day. That's leverage unlike anything else. You don't need to experience everything firsthand. You can learn from thousands who did and accelerate your growth. Building a reading habit in a fast world. Reclaiming books starts small. Start with 10 minutes a day, real pages, not summaries. Disconnect from devices and invite quiet. Pick one topic that matters to you and allow curiosity, not guilt, to lead. Use a highlighter. Make notes. Talk back to the author in your mind. Reading is not passive, it's mental conversation. It's not about finishing fast, it's about thinking deeply. Once your brain rediscovers this rhythm, you'll crave it the way you once craved scrolling. Chapter 8. Attention Detox. Declutter your inputs. Pause for a moment and imagine your attention as a room. Walls lined with shelves, each shelf stacked with books, screens, notifications, conversations, ads, memories, all shouting for space. Every time you say yes to one more thing, another post, another update, another app, you clutter that room. Soon you can't find your own thoughts anymore. They're buried under the noise of other people's priorities. An attention detox is not just about deleting distractions. It's about reclaiming ownership of your mental space, because your mind will never find peace if you leave the doors open to everything. Why your brain feels overloaded. Your brain wasn't designed to process infinite input. It evolved for survival, tracking a few moving parts, reading a handful of social cues, managing a small tribe of relationships. Today, that same brain is bombarded by hundreds of updates, alerts, and emotions before breakfast. You feel stressed not because you're weak, but because you're overloaded. Your mental circuits are jammed with decisions that don't matter. You can't hear your own intuition while 20 digital voices are shouting in your pocket. You cannot think deeply while your brain is busy cleaning up notifications. The overload isn't a flaw, it's a design. The systems around you profit from keeping you distracted. That's why detox isn't luxury, it's survival. The hidden cost of endless inputs. Every tiny interruption comes with a price. Each ping, vibration, or scroll costs seconds to recover, but those seconds add up to hours, days, even years of scattered focus. It's not just time you lose, it's momentum. Your energy leaks every time you switch tasks. You restart your thoughts over and over until nothing truly moves forward. Imagine trying to write a masterpiece while someone taps your shoulder every 30 seconds. That's what modern life looks like. We are multitasking ourselves into mediocrity. Attention detox means taking those micro taps away until your mind finally exhales. The digital diet. Most people treat mental clutter the way they treat junk food. They consume first, complain later. You decide to just check a message and end up consuming hundreds of inputs with zero nourishment. So treat your attention like your body. It needs clean fuel. To detox, you don't have to quit technology. You simply must curate it. Start by auditing your digital consumption. Ask with honesty. Which apps, channels, accounts, and habits actually add value? If an input doesn't inspire, educate, or uplift, it's processed noise. Delete it, mute it, block it, or bench it. Minimal input, maximum meaning. The power of subtraction. Detox isn't about adding new habits, it's about subtracting the unnecessary. You don't find clarity by doing more, you find it by doing less, cleaner, deeper. Unfollow accounts that don't enrich your thinking. Turn off notifications from everything except the essential. Keep your phone out of reach during focused work. Stop letting random information rent space in your mind without paying rent. Each subtraction creates silence, and that silence creates strength. The less you consume, the more you notice. The more you notice, the more control returns to you. Decluttering beyond technology. Attention clutter isn't just digital, it's emotional, physical, and social too. Some relationships drain focus because they thrive on drama. Some spaces exhaust you because they're messy. Some habits dull your awareness. Overeating, gossip, complaining. Every environment either feeds your focus or bleeds it. Clean your workspace, clean your schedule, clean your circle. Remember, chaos outside becomes chaos inside. To think clearly, you must live intentionally. Designing focus zones. Create intentional zones where attention is fully protected. Have one desk or corner where no phone enters. Set time windows where you're unreachable. No calls, no pings, no demands. Use deep focus rituals, noise-free playlists, reading hours, meditation, or analog journaling. These boundaries teach your brain how to trust itself again. Once you know your mind can work without interruption, focus no longer feels like effort. It becomes your natural rhythm. Your brain loves routine. Give it one built on stillness instead of stimulation. Detoxing the mind's language. Inputs aren't just visual, they're linguistic. The words you repeat create your mental environment. When you constantly say, "I'm busy," your brain believes chaos is your identity. Replace those phrases with truth. I'm focused. I'm in control. I can choose. Language detox is how you clean the voice in your head. If your self-talk is crowded with negativity or noise, nothing outside will feel peaceful either. Change your words and you begin changing your wiring. Repeat this until it becomes second nature. If it doesn't feed your mission, it steals your mind. Again, if it doesn't feed your mission, it steals your mind. Delete what drains you. Distance what distracts you. Protect your mind like priceless property, because it is. Your attention is your empire. Guard the gates. If it doesn't feed your mission, it steals your mind. Attention detox is not disappearance, it's design. It's consciously choosing what gets access to your mental space. You cannot build focus inside a cluttered environment, just like you cannot breathe deeply in a crowded room. Simplify your inputs and life begins to align again. The smaller your intake, the sharper your insight. When you stop letting everyone else's noise fill your room, you rediscover the quiet hum of your own potential. So clean the clutter, cut the noise, curate your world. Your mind was built for brilliance, not for buffering. You've uncluttered your external environment. Now it's time to go inward, to align your internal energy with your attention. In the next chapter, we'll explore the invisible link between energy and focus, and why managing your body is the secret to mastering your mind. Chapter 9. Energy management is attention management. Focus isn't just mental, it's biological. You can't think clearly with a tired brain, can't plan deeply on an empty stomach, can't create powerfully when your body's battery is running on fumes. That's why mastering your attention starts with mastering your energy. You don't have an attention problem, you have an energy alignment problem. If your physical state is shaky, your focus will always fracture. Energy doesn't just fuel the body, it stabilizes the mind. The energy-focus connection. Every thought is powered by chemistry. Your ability to concentrate, to resist distraction, to stay calm, all of it depends on energy distribution inside your body. Try solving a problem after 4 hours of sleep. Try staying patient when you've skipped meals. Try meditating after 6 coffees and 0 movement. Your body rebels, and so does your mind. What you feed, move, and rest determines what you can focus on. Attention isn't only mental discipline, it's physical management. You can't expect a racing heart to produce still thoughts. So before you fix your concentration, fix your energy flow. The myth of mental endurance without physical care. People try to brute force focus by guilt and caffeine, but focus is not discipline alone, it's alignment. When your body is mismanaged, attention becomes fragmented by default. Sleep debt fogs cognition, poor nutrition dulls motivation, lack of movement traps energy that should feed creativity. You can't override biology forever. The myth is that high performers always grind harder. The truth is, high performers recover smarter. Their power isn't found in pushing non-stop, it's found in cycling energy intelligently. Rest creates rhythm, rhythm sustains greatness. The physiology of flow. When your energy and attention align, you enter what psychologists call flow state. Time slows down. Tasks feel effortless. Thinking becomes fluid. That state isn't magic, it's physiology. It's what happens when the brain receives stable oxygen, steady blood sugar, calm heart rate, and minimal stress hormones. You can't hack your way to flow while living chaotically. You have to prepare your body for clarity to awaken. So move, breathe, hydrate, eat with intention, sleep like a monk. Your body is the hardware, your focus is the software. If the hardware is glitching, no mental app will run smoothly. Managing energy, not time. Modern productivity tells you to manage hours, but time is static. Energy fluctuates. So plan your day based on energy waves, not schedules alone. Notice when your body feels most alert. Morning, afternoon, evening. Dedicate those windows to deep work and major thinking. Keep lower energy hours for light tasks, movement or recovery. Don't fight your body's rhythm. Work with it. The best leaders structure their days like symphonies, high intensity followed by rest, not endless noise. Your body already knows when to sprint and when to breathe. Listen to it. Fuel over focus tricks. Focus is less about tricks and more about fueling correctly. Your attention burns glucose, it's literal energy expenditure, so if you undereat, overstuff or sugar spike, your focus dips like a bad signal. Choose foods that sustain, not stimulate. Water over caffeine chaos. Consistency over extremes. Don't confuse energy highs with energy stability. Short-term spikes are panic, long-term steadiness is power. A well-fueled body doesn't crave distraction because it's content in rhythm. Movement is mental clarity. The brain is not a separate machine, it's a biological organ linked to your muscles, breath, and posture. Every time you sit still too long, circulation slows and clarity fades. That's why a 10-minute walk can reset your thoughts better than an hour of scrolling. Why athletes often think clearer after workouts, blood flow feeds thought flow. Movement is not time away from thinking, it is thinking in motion. Build rituals of daily motion, stretch, walk, lift, breathe deeply. You're not escaping work, you're energizing your capacity for it. A still body breeds static thoughts. A moving body generates momentum inside the mind. Rest, the ultimate performance tool. Rest is not the opposite of productivity, it's the source of it. Sleep is mental cleaning. During deep rest, your brain clears toxins, repairs neural pathways, and recharges creative circuits. Cutting sleep to gain time is like stabbing your fuel tank to find more miles. True focus requires recovery, so treat rest as sacred, not optional. No one ever lost progress by sleeping deeply, but many have lost focus, patience, and passion by treating exhaustion as ambition. Recharge to rise, the emotional dimension of energy. Energy isn't just physical, it's emotional too. Some people drain you. Some conversations deplete you. Some environments drain faster than any task. This is part of your energy audit. Protect your emotional reserves the same way you protect your calendar. Say no when your intuition says no. Take quiet minutes after social overload. Silence can be emotional food. The calmer your emotions, the sharper your attention. Peace produces power. Repetition anchor. Repeat this until it becomes your rule. You can't focus tired. You can't create drained. Again, you can't focus tired. You can't create drained. Energy fuels clarity. Recovery restores mastery. The body leads, the mind follows. Sleep, move, breathe. Then focus. Because focus is physical. Attention is energetic. You can't focus tired. You can't create drained. Attention follows energy. Every powerful thought, brave idea, and creative breakthrough begins in a body that's awake, nourished, and stable. You don't need to fight for focus. You need to charge for it. Build your energy habits the way others build to-do lists. Guard your rest like treasure. Feed your body like an athlete. Move like a creator in training. Because when your energy rises, your attention expands, and so does every possibility in your life. You've aligned your focus and restored your energy. Now it's time for the final step, the master level of self-direction. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to lead your life like an empire using solitude, vision, and disciplined reflection to steer your future with clarity and control. Chapter 10. Your life's board meeting. Close your eyes for a second and picture your life as a company. You own it. You lead it. You are the CEO, the strategist, the visionary. Every hour that passes, something happens inside your company. Decisions are made, people influence outcomes, goals shift, habits form. Now here's the question most people never ask. Are you running this company with intention or just reacting to daily noise? Every powerful organization schedules board meetings. Time set aside not for action but for direction. Yet most people never hold one for their own lives. Your mind deserves those same meetings, where you stop doing and start deciding. This is the practice of conscious leadership over your own life. The CEO mindset. Good CEOs don't panic. They plan. They don't chase every opportunity. They select the few that align with vision. They delegate distractions, protect priorities, and monitor progress. That's what you must do mentally. You can't manage your life by instinct alone. You need structures for reflection, moments where you zoom out, reconsider, and reset direction. Because if you never step out of the daily operations of your own existence, you'll drown in them. To direct your future, you must become its chief executive. Taking time to think. Thinking time is not luxury, it's leadership maintenance. Once a week, or at least once a month, schedule a real board meeting with yourself. Turn off the phone, clear the noise. Prepare a notebook like it's a company strategy session. Ask the critical questions. Where am I headed? What's working? What is wasting energy? What needs to change this quarter? The first time, it may feel forced, but soon, you'll see. You think clearer than you realize when the world stops talking at you. Most people complain about lack of clarity. Few ever sit down to think long enough to find it. That's what your life's board meeting is for. Separating the operator from the visioner. Inside you, there are two characters. The operator handles day-to-day tasks, checking items off. The visionary defines direction, purpose, long-term meaning. When the operator never stops doing, the visionary starves. The company of your life moves quickly. But toward what? Solitude, silence, reflection. That's where the visionary steps in and whispers, "This way." You need both, the operator for execution, the visionary for evolution, but only the visionary can steer. If you don't schedule time for your visionary, your life becomes efficient at repeating what no longer matters. The metrics that actually matter. CEOs measure what matters most, and stop tracking vanity numbers. You should too. Stop measuring yourself by hours worked or posts uploaded. Start measuring by clarity gained, peace maintained, goals achieved. Ask, did I honor my energy today? Did I grow wiser? Did I move my vision forward? Those are metrics that build fulfillment instead of burnout. Success is strategic, not accidental, and every strategy begins by asking what actually counts this year? Designing your mental boardroom. You don't need a skyscraper or meeting table for reflection. You just need a ritual space that signals, I'm directing my life now. It might be a quiet chair every Sunday, a journal by the window each morning, a weekly walk without your phone, a few hours each quarter for deep recalibration. Consistency is power. Every time you meet with yourself, clarity compounds. Make it formal, write down decisions, revisit them. You're not just thinking, you're managing your mental enterprise. That's how vague dreams turn into executable plans. Restructuring for the future. Sometimes being your own CEO means hard calls, end projects that drain more than they give, edit relationships that disrupt your peace, pause goals that no longer serve your direction. This isn't cold, it's clarity. As the CEO of your life, your job is sustainability and growth, not endless emotional compromise. A company that tries to do everything eventually collapses. So does a person. Pruning isn't loss. It's leadership through precision. Vision, the compass of leadership. Leadership without vision is noise with better branding. Your life's vision is your north. Without it, no strategy holds. Ask yourself, what does success look like to me, not to others? Where do I want this company, my life, to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10? Write it. Refine it. Protect it. Vision doesn't live in motivation, it lives in management. You direct toward it every day, adjusting when needed. That's how you steer through uncertainty, with purpose as compass, reflection as map, and discipline as steering wheel. Repetition anchor. Repeat this until it becomes an identity. You are the CEO of your life. No CEO thrives in chaos. Again, you are the CEO of your life. No CEO thrives in chaos. Schedule your thinking. Guard your direction. Live by design, not default. The meetings you skip with yourself become the regrets you face later. You are the CEO of your life. No CEO thrives in chaos. Closing of chapter 10. You've spent this journey learning about time, focus, silence, and energy. Now, here at the summit, remember this. Self-leadership is not about control, it's about clarity. The world's noise will never stop. The pace will never ease, but you can rise above it, not by escaping life, but by managing it like a master. Hold your meetings with yourself, plan with intention, think longer than the world does. Because a life left unmanaged falls into autopilot, and autopilot always lands at mediocrity. You are the strategist now, your goals are your departments, your attention is your currency, your energy is your budget, and your vision is the board's decision. Run your life with wisdom, not panic, with patience, not pressure, because the day you start leading your minutes, your life starts following your direction. That's the blueprint. That's the quiet revolution, leading your destiny through the art of deliberate attention. You've arrived at the end of this audiobook journey, but the beginning of self-direction. Up next, we'll bring everything together in a powerful conclusion, an unbroken message of reflection and challenge that transforms these chapters into action. This world is built to steal your focus, minute by minute, ping by ping. But today, you are reclaiming your currency, the wealth of your attention. When you choose silence over scroll, depth over distraction, solitude over stimulation, you're not falling behind. You are finally leading. You are the CEO of your own time. Protect your meetings of the mind like sacred ground. Because the truth is simple. Every moment you direct with intention becomes a brick in the empire of your life. Reclaim your attention, slow your mind, shape your world. Now, fire the intruders, shut the doors, and step back into control.